So, a quite interesting debate has been going on between, among other people, Styx Hexenhammer and the GoldenOne on whether or not we should ban pornography in the West, or in particular Western countries or regions. And the GoldenOne has come down decidedly on the side of, yes, of course we should ban pornography, just as we would ban hard narcotics and things of that nature, things that we know are harmful, clearly. And of course, Styx Hexenhammer has, being the libertarian that he is, come down on the side of, no, we should not ban pornography. In fact, it's really not that different from things that have been around for thousands of years. The banning is the greater threat than the porn itself. And it's a very old debate, one that's been going on about all kinds of things, not just pornography, but degenerate music was a popular subject of this kind of debate back in the 90s, and so on, back down the road. And I'm going to pull the classic big brain middle position and say both sides have good points. I have done a little bit of research on porn, probably not as much as the GoldenOne has, but it seems pretty obvious. Porn is just objectively bad. There's nothing good, really, that comes from it at all. Even that momentary pleasure at the moment of enjoyment often comes attached to a feeling of guilt, and shortly afterwards a kind of listlessness that is sort of comparable to the crash after a caffeine or sugar high. There's just no good about it. And so the GoldenOne is objectively, definitively correct on the badness of porn. But does that mean that we should ban it? And here, if I can voice Styx Hexenhammer for a second, and I know that Styx Hexenhammer doesn't necessarily agree with the GoldenOne on that position, but Styx might say something to the effect of, well, suppose you were right, Marcus. Suppose porn was objectively and completely and totally bad. We still should not ban it, he would say, because the power we are giving to government to ban this thing is, as great of a harm as porn may be, the power we are giving to government to censor this is a greater harm, a greater negative power than the porn itself. These are, after all, the governments that have been demographically threatening your very country with immigration and trying to ban legitimate intellectual exploration of historical and philosophical subjects as hate speech, let alone political discussion. So, is that a power that you want to give? Where, after all, is the line between pornography and art or other kinds of expression? And the GoldenOne sort of, and Styx Hexenhammer both sort of played around this debate subject about, where is the line between art and pornography? And it's a classical problem for, what in philosophy we call conceptual analysis. Can a difference exist if we can't quite put words on it? And sometimes the answer is yes. Conceptual analysis, the ability to define things in clear terms, isn't all that there is to differences and similarities between things. And so to split the difference between these two subjects, and here there is a tremendous business opportunity, I believe. And there's nothing wrong with earning money, by the way, from either perspective here. There's a tremendous business opportunity for some right-leaning gentleman with some software savviness, which I lack, as you can probably tell by the video editing here, to create a program that people who are trying to fight porn in their own personal lives can download and apply. As a writer, I have been using a program on and off for the last 4 years. I haven't used it very much recently, but it's a tremendous program. I can't recommend it highly enough, called Freedom. And it's a very simple program. All you do, you pay like $30 for it, and then you bring it up. It's just a little timer, and you set the timer, and once you hit go on that timer, your computer will not allow you to connect with the internet for the amount of time that you put in. It is probably one of the best productivity applications I have discovered. And it's just a fantastic tool for writing and for thinking when you're on the computer. And if someone, because there are so many guys out there, so many guys who are Christian, who are pagan, who are just generally politically right-leaning and understand the psychological effects of pornography, who are trying to fight pornography, but they understand just how addictive it is. They understand how difficult it is to stop yourself when you get into that particular mind state, at home, suddenly incredibly lonely and bored and compulsive, and you can't stop yourself, and there's the internet right there. That's a kind of energy that can be channeled into so many other things. But because, as the GoldenOne says, because it's just a few clicks away, it's so easy, they feel like they just can't stop themselves. So if some guy out there were to create a program and market it, perhaps even an ISP were to create a program that users could opt into for maybe even a certain amount of extra price, perhaps even less price, because as far as I know, porn sites are notoriously high data usage. So perhaps you could even save money on your ISP by downloading an app of this nature that would allow you ordinary internet access but would ban these particular sites. It would be an interesting option, and it would I think address what the GoldenOne's talking about, the need for people to have the tools necessary to deal with this problem. Because if the government is allowed to ban narcotics, why are we not allowed to ban pornography? While at the same time addressing people like Styx Hexenhammer's concerns, which are, I think, actually rather reasonable about the trustworthiness of our respective governments, given their history of decision-making in the last 2 decades. So, food for thought for all in this discussion, and happy debating through the season to all of you.